Missed, bitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Blast Radius. This is normally the part of the program where I regale you with a fun, pithy comedy news roundup, but it would seem rather wildly inappropriate to be doing a fun, pithy comedy news roundup tonight in light of the events of yesterday evening in Butler County, Pennsylvania. There will be none among you who are as yet unaware that Donald Trump was shot and wounded in a failed assassination attempt that claimed the life of retired Fire Chief Corey Comparator and wounded two others. There will also, I trust, be none among you who has not rolled your eyes and palmed your face at the subsequent antics of our friends in the fake news performance artist community who, lacking any capacity for introspection or self-awareness right to the very end, are quick to attribute the evil deed to a culmination of a toxically overheated political climate, and yet strangely unprepared to acknowledge, much less apologize for, their own outsized role in creating, maintaining, and escalating those same climatic conditions. Are there plenty of recriminations and remonstrances that ought to be thrown around tonight? You bet your sweet ass there are. And we will throw around every last one of them in the upcoming 90 minutes. You have my word on that. But first I want to talk about the thing nobody's really talking about, and that's where we would be tonight if this event had gone slightly differently. If the cocktail of variables, including divine providence, if you're inclined to believe in such things, if it had been mixed just a little bit differently and the assassin's bullet had found its mark, our national life as we know it may have ended 23 hours ago. Change the bullet track just a little bit or the head position by half an inch, and millions of people would have watched Donald Trump's head explode on live television. It would have been a piece of footage in all likelihood that would make the Zapruder film look rather tame by comparison, and we would have some form of armed conflict taking place right now in multiple locations, because let's call things what they are. If there is one singular event that has the potential to collapse our republic and render it totally non-functional, it would be the successful assassination of Donald Trump. And yesterday, that came closer to happening than a thing can be that doesn't actually come to pass. You want to talk about dodging a bullet? The man and the country have both done that, in the judgment of this reporter. And on a personal level, as just a run-of-the-mill American voter who would very much like Donald Trump to be my president for an additional 4 years, I say thank heaven the man is all right. And as a brief aside, if you have ever had the slightest inclination to send a super chat or a super thanks to this program, I want you to not do that. I want you to take whatever you were going to send, double it, and send it to the GoFundMe for the family of Corey Comparator. In fact, we better drop a link in the chat, and I think we'll drop a link in the description after the show is over. This man, as I understand it, when the shooting started, he didn't hesitate. He threw his wife and his daughter on the ground and exposed himself to hostile fire so that they wouldn't be hit. He had, at best, 2 or 3 seconds to react. And if I may presume to speak on behalf of all guys with wives and daughters, I think we would all hope in that same circumstance to display the same presence of mind and the same spirit of self-sacrifice and the same devotion to his loved ones and the same stone-cold bravery that Chief Comparator did on this day. Is he a murder victim? Yeah, he is. But he also died a hero. And let's never forget his name. As far as recriminations and remonstrances, well, we should probably begin with the idiot who did the shooting and the law enforcement professionals whose job it was to not let him do that. What we do know about the shooter, whose name we will not utter since this is a respectable program and we don't say the names of glory-seeking asshole murderers, well, he appears to be just about what you would expect, a young leftist radicalized by a virulently anti-Trump establishment. They tell us he's 20 years old, a local resident from a fairly ordinary neighborhood. All we know about his political activities and proclivities as we go to press is that he once made a $15 donation to a left-wing political action committee, and he registered as a Republican ahead of the 2022 midterms when he first became eligible to vote. That last thing has already given birth to all manner of wild conclusions and conspiratorial flights of fancy, but, as most things do, it probably has a fairly simple and mundane explanation. As we know, it's been part of the political strategery for quite a while now. Democrats and Republicans both do this, where they will register as members of the other party and then go vote in the primary for whoever they think is the candidate with the worst chance of winning the general election. So I think the most likely explanation here is that this kid registered Republican in 22 so that he could vote for Dr. Oz in the primary, whom the Democrats viewed as having the best chance to lose to a mute stroke victim, which John Fetterman was at that time. And hey, more power to him. They wound up being correct because the big, tall, Frankenstein-looking dude in the hoodie who couldn't speak English actually wound up winning the election. Now, who bears the ultimate and sole culpability when a maniac with a gun tries to whack somebody? That's right, it's the maniac. It ain't the gun, it ain't the bullet, it ain't video games, it ain't heavy metal music, it ain't Satanism. It's just the maniac who chose to pull the trigger and attempt to take the life of another. But can an environment be created and fostered and nurtured and promoted that makes a maniac more likely to pick up a gun and more likely to pull the trigger? Well, that's a big 10-4, good buddy. So just as a hypothetical thought experiment, suppose there was some political figure you didn't like and you spent years, nearly a decade, night and day, blasting out the message that this person is the avatar of pure evil. This person is the enemy and the antithesis of all that is good and moral and praiseworthy. This person has to be stopped at all costs. We'll lose our whole way of life and everything we hold dear if some brave hero doesn't rise up and stop the bad, terrible, evil man. Do you suppose, if you spent years on end saying things like that and your side has a near monopoly on the public airwaves, that it might inspire some crazy person to go out and do that very self-same thing you have worked so hard to implicitly promote? And the people we used to call the press, they have the unmitigated gall to sit there in their ivory tower studios and inveigh against the temperature of the discourse and the fever of the vitriol and, oh, Lord, the polarization, so much polarization, right? Because it's not as if you guys had anything to do with creating the world that you now say you lament living in, where some little douchebag actually took you at your word and went and did the thing you've been kinda really sorta wanting somebody to do for a fairly long time now. So yes, how very rich it is when the very same authors of the 9-year-long campaign of Donald Trump character assassination throw up their hands and start playing the sanctimonious game assigning blame to every party except themselves, when shit starts getting real and it turns into actual assassination. I was watching a movie last week, a new movie. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Good picture, I do recommend it. But the point is, as I'm watching the climactic third act battle scene, as I'm watching our heroic protagonists slicing and dicing and shooting and smashing their way through hundreds of disposable Nazi foes, it occurs to me that the only context in which it is acceptable in the cinema of the third decade of the 21st century for human beings to visit wanton acts of violence upon other human beings is if the human beings having the violence visited on them are Nazis. If it's an action franchise or a superhero movie, your disposable adversaries have to be aliens or robots or what have you. They can't be people unless they are Nazis. Because Nazis are our convenient cultural shorthand that means pure evil, and Adolf Hitler is our convenient cultural shorthand when we need to boil the idea of pure evil down to a single real-world personage. So you tell me, when one of America's two major political parties and its entire mass media establishment and its entire academic establishment and its entire idiot celebrity class spends 9 years identifying the other party's leader and his supporters as literally Hitler and literally Nazis and saying these people are evil incarnate and an existential threat to our democracy and they have to be stopped at all costs, doesn't it stand to reason that some crazy person somewhere will believe them and be prepared to act on that belief? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, it does stand to reason, and the people who work tirelessly to create the current climate would do well to stop complaining about the existence of the thing they created and created on purpose. Now, like I said, I'm very glad indeed that President Trump remains alive and wasn't wounded more seriously than he was. But you know what doesn't make me glad? You know what kind of pisses me off, in fact? That we have to call this a failed assassination attempt instead of a thwarted assassination attempt. Because according to the best information we currently have, the fact that Trump is currently alive owes nothing to the efforts of the Secret Service detail that he has been provided by Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas. In fact, all things being equal, this is probably the most shocking operational failure in Secret Service history. Worse than Dallas? Yes, worse than Dallas. You know why? Because we were supposed to have learned the lessons of Dallas 60 goddamn years ago. But Shazam, Shazam, here we are in the year 2024 with a left-wing radical taking pot shots at a president from an unsecured rooftop less than 150 yards away. You cannot even be serious right now, Secret Service. How has the head of that agency, Kimberly Cheadle, not resigned or been fired yet? You lost your man, Kimberly. I know he's still alive, but that is no thanks to you. Your man got hit in the head with an assassin's bullet. For Christ's sake, you have thus failed in your duties as badly as a person can fail at a thing. As a matter of basic decency and the barest professional decorum, you should have resigned before yesterday was out. We know, because it's a matter of public record, that the Trump campaign has made repeated requests for enhanced Secret Service protection since the start of this year. And the Biden administration has declined every single one of them without comment or justification. They have also refused any Secret Service protection for Bobby Kennedy Jr. If one didn't know better, one might suspect Joe Biden prefers it when his opponents get assassinated. But even with the resources the Trump detail does have, it seems like you could secure 3 goddamn rooftops without much difficulty. I mean, 150 yards, you have to be able to hit that shot 80% of the time in order to make the barest qualification as an infantryman. It is a kindergarten level shot. And a dude with a rifle is able to mosey on up the side of a building, take his sweet ass time getting himself in position, get his aim dialed in just right, and meanwhile we've got all manner of videos coming out of people who saw the shooter on the rooftop. They were filming him, and they were frantically trying to get the attention of the cops and the Secret Service. He's got a gun, he's got a gun, he's on the roof, and he's got a gun. The guy who talked to the BBC reporter said he saw the shooter 5 minutes before the attack and couldn't get the attention of any law enforcement personnel. Now, where did the current head of the Secret Service work in her last job? Pepsi. And when she was hired to lead the Secret Service in 2022, what did she say her biggest priority was? Diversity and inclusion. We want the Secret Service to be 30% female in 10 years' time. And look, if we have to lose a few presidents in order to achieve that noblest of goals, well, hell, that's life, I guess. And I thought it was fun, as I'm sure you did too, when they're standing Trump back on his feet, forming a protective cocoon around him with their bodies, except, whoopsie, his entire head and upper torso remain fully exposed because the agent covering his front side is a 5'0" woman who weighs about 107 pounds. And there was that other female agent, as they were bundling Trump into the van, who kept sort of fumbling around trying to get her sidearm back into the holster like she had never handled a firearm before, like a suburban housewife on her first trip to the shooting range. Just an outstanding look all around, Secret Service. You guys have covered yourselves in almost as much glory as the fake news media performance artists have. I mean, seriously, I want to know the answer. Which one of you was it who surveyed the scene at that rally site, saw those 3 rooftops providing an elevated shooting position at less than 150 yards and said, it's fine. I'm sure it'll be okay. What could happen? How much extra effort would it have required to put a dude on each one of those 3 rooftops? Couldn't you even farm that job out to the local cops? For Christ's sake, I'm sure they'd be happy to help. Nobody wants their little town to be the little town where Donald Trump got whacked. And how has Kimberly Cheadle not resigned or been fired? I'm serious here. Why is it that it's impossible to get fired in this administration unless you're a cross-dressing leather fetishist dog mask wearing luggage thief? Somebody please explain this to me. Oh, and last thing, Donald Trump, you, sir, are a stone-cold badass. The man's just been shot. He's wounded, bleeding. He's got no idea what's going on. But he knows he doesn't want to look like a pussy. Most men in his position, they wouldn't think about projecting an image of strength and resilience in that moment. Most men in his position would say, get me the hell off this stage. They're going to kill us all. But most men are not Donald J. Trump, are they? Donald J. Trump leaves a stage on his own time, on his own terms. And he's got the presence of mind to think, if I rise up bleeding from a gunshot wound and give the crowd and the photographers the image of a man who stands resolute and unconquered, his fist raised in the air, that will be an iconic image in American political history. And so it was, and so it will. And that's just about all I have got. God bless Donald J. Trump. Godspeed, Chief Corey Comparator. God bless the United States of America. And here's Mr. Sasquatch.
Incoming!
This guy is Teflon. He is like who in the world could I say nearly 100 felony criminal charges have been leveled against the former president? And he is still like rallying and campaigning. I feel like he like eats his shit and it just like makes him tanner and younger and stronger. I feel like he eats it with like a golden spoon that's like emblazoned the Mar-a-Lago emblem, and he's just like, give me more charges. Amazing. You better not cut that and make that a video.
I wouldn't do that. All right, so Biden went live while you were speaking, so we're going to pick up right at the beginning, or do you want to go to it currently?
No, let's start at the beginning.
While we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors. We're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back. Take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooter yet. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support, or if he communicated with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions. Tonight, I want to speak to what we do know. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled it before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer. Whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking
I can see his
Capitol on January
teleprompter
6th,
reflected in the
or
window
brutal attack
behind
on
him.
the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, or information and intimidation
And he goes to the fucking January 6th card.
against the sitting governor, or an attempted assassination on Donald Trump. There's no place in America for this kind of violence, for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to be normalized. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that.
Yeah. Who did that?
Deeply felt, strong disagreements. The stakes in this election are enormously high. I've said it many times that the choice in this election we make in this election is going to shape the future of America and the world for decades to come. I believe that with all my soul. I know that millions of my fellow Americans believe it as well. And some have a different view as to the direction our country should take. Disagreement is inevitable in American democracy. It's part of human nature. But politics must never be a literal battlefield, and God forbid, a killing field. I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate.
His eye line is not anywhere close to the camera lens. It's like 6 feet away.
We stand for an America,
That's wild.
not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace.
Like, where is he looking?
It's the time of testing as the election approaches. And the higher the stakes, the more fervent the passions become. This places an added burden on each of us to ensure that no matter how strong our convictions, we must never descend into violence. The Republican convention will start tomorrow. I have no doubt they'll criticize my record and offer their own vision for this country. I'll be traveling this week making the case for our record and the vision, my vision of the country, our vision. I'll continue to speak out strongly for our democracy, stand up for our Constitution and the rule of law, to call for action at the ballot box, no violence on our streets. That's how democracy should work. We debate and disagree. We compare and contrast the character of the candidates, the records, the issues, the agenda, the vision for America. But in America, we resolve our differences at the battle box. You know, that's how we do it, at the battle box, not with bullets. The power to change America should always rest in the hands of the people, not in the hands of would-be assassin. You know, the path forward through a
Real
competing
bold
vision,
series of positions he's taken here, eh?
not through acts of violence.
Murdering people is bad. It's bad. Don't do it.
And I believe that with every soul, every power of my being. So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit, to make America, think about it. What's made America so special?
Oh, God.
In America, everyone must be treated with dignity and respect, and hate must have no safe harbor. Here in America, we need to get out of our silos, where we only listen to those with whom we agree. Misinformation is rampant. Foreign actors fan the flames of our division,
He looks pretty
shape
orange.
the outcomes consistent with their interests, not ours.
I still want to know who's picking that spray paint color.
Right?
The most
That's-
elusive of
Look at his
gold
hands.
right now.
They look dead,
Nothing
but his
more
face
than
looks like they're
right now.
actively pumping in
It's
color.
standing together. We can do this. You know, from the beginning, our founders understood the power of passion. So they created democracy that gave reason and balance a chance to prevail over brute force.
Thank you, Motor City
That's the
Maniac.
American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. An American democracy where the rule of law is respected. An American democracy where decency, dignity, fair play aren't just quaint notions, but living, breathing realities. We owe that to those who come before us, to those who gave their lives for this country. We owe that to ourselves. We owe it to our children and our grandchildren. Look, let's never lose
I always
sight.
feel bad for the sign language person who has to translate Biden to English.
There is nothing.
Yeah, they'll
Nothing
switch up
nothing
here in a
beyond the
second.
fact
She's going to throw a
when we
cramp
do
or
it together.
something. What's up, Broke Fish? Oh, God, Mitch, what's up?
I gotta take a breather, coach.
Yep. The Krylon touch. That's what she said.
So that's it. That's all there was, huh? That was the big Oval. I'm trying to think of how many Oval Office addresses he's even done.
That's the first one that I can remember off the top of my old melon noggin. You know.
Yeah, it's got to be less than 5.
Called it, didn't I? I called it. I told you if there's any night he's going to be on time, it will be tonight. And about the same time you started talking, it just poof went live over there, and I was like,
"Yeah." The one time he shows up punctually is the time we don't want him to.
Right? What is wrong with this stuff? Okay.
What a very inspiring load of non-committal gobbledygook that was. Man, I sure feel better now.
And that comes right from.
I suppose we should start with what's on absolutely everyone's mind everywhere. And we'll just let it happen. No sound, no nothing. Homie's standing here chilling, and I swear to God, he sees something. Something. He heard something maybe in his earpiece. He turns his head a little bit, just a touch. Wild.
And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Yeah, and there's just a little head movement that happens right before contact that probably made all the difference. Have you seen the picture that captured the bullet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I got to get that for you.
Yeah, you saw that, right? There's that little head bob right before he actually flinches.
Yeah.
He turns his head. He saw something. I think the homie was so close that when he popped his head up, Trump saw him. He saw the movement over the top of the crowd, looked over at it, and it was that turning of his head that turned it from a shot through his ear to a shot of his ear. It's funny. You ever seen a troop of baboons get spooked? They do this same bobbing and weaving kind of thing that you see people doing. Okay, so they'll hide behind each other, but then as each one realizes they're exposed, they'll run and hide behind someone else. And so there's this effect like you're seeing here.
Yeah. Yeah, there was not as much pandemonium as one might expect there ought to be.
I think that was what was supposed to happen. Is it was supposed to trigger somebody else in the crowd that was packing to just start shooting because MAGA people are crazy, right?
Well, yeah, obviously.
So all you got to do is rattle them a little bit and they'll come loose. But I got to give the shooter, who I will not say his name, the unspoken one, I got to give you this much credit. Or he had help. How do you get within 100?
Can I share this screen? I've got the.
You can try. How do we do it?
I think that's the $64,000 question right now, isn't it?
What screen do you want to share? Are you glitching out over there on me? I think he's glitching out on me.
What the hell?
I don't know.
Never mind. I won't. Never mind. I won't share the damn thing. If it's gonna be that much trouble, fuck it. Anyway, the New York Times photographer got a picture of the freaking bullet just before it's about to impact the man's ear. And man, talk about a lucky picture. You could try 1,000,000 times to get that picture and never get it a second time.
Can you believe that it actually happened, or do you think some part of this is some? Are we seeing a patsy?
I really doubt it very much.
I do too. See, there's a whole lot here in my brain, just casual notations of things. How do you get that close without having somebody on the payroll? Luck. Luck would explain everything. You'd have to just get lucky as hell, dude. What's up, Derek? Secrets of the Past Parahistory.
Well, and one thought that did occur to me as I was thinking about this earlier was consider the fact that the only reason Trump has a Secret Service detail right now is because he's a former president. It's not because he's a candidate for this year's election, because he doesn't become entitled to a detail as the nominee until this week when he is actually becomes the nominee officially at the convention. So if he wasn't a former president, he would be stuck with private security here. And so
I don't know, man. It is Donald Trump. He would have the best, would he not? Previously,
yeah,
I
and it's you shouldn't ever have to ask this question, but mightn't he be better off with his own private security than he is with the U.S. Secret Service?
One caveat. No, and here's why. The Secret Service have absolute immunity on anything they do to protect the president. And it's not qualified immunity, it's absolute. If you chain yourself to a busload of orphans and drive within 50 feet of the president and they think you might have a bond, they are perfectly legally permitted to wax every single orphan in that bus to make sure that bomb doesn't get close enough to harm a president or former president.
And if you've seen the overhead satellite view of the area where this took place, it is not a big town. It's a very tiny place. There are only a sparse few buildings, and those 3 rooftops within 150 yards. How do you not secure those? How on God's green earth do you not secure those when those are the only things anywhere in sight, and they each offer perfect line of sight to liquidate the man you are supposed to be tasked with protecting? How do you not secure them? How do you not even put a local cop up there? What
Right.
the hell?
I don't see how you don't put a Secret Service up there. There should have been a sniper there. That's where the Secret Service sniper should have been. That's where one of them should have been. When I looked at that layout, I would put a man there, and I'd put another one way over here on this corner of that other building that, as I understand it, was also not secured.
Yeah, and it's the absolute most obvious place you would go to if you were trying to get a shot off, a makeable shot from outside the security perimeter.
And I would have absolutely put somebody up there if I'd have been head of that detail. I'm not even joking. The very second I saw that overhead shot, I went, "You're joking. Dude, you could have made that shot with a fucking baseball."
I know, exactly.
I sight my red dot in short, a little bit shorter than that, just a little bit. I could have done that with my red dot sight.
The head of the Secret Service has to go yesterday at a bare minimum, as the absolute bare minimum response that is in the realm of due diligence. Doesn't that have to happen? How can that person still have a job 24 hours later?
Right? Like, I don't. What's up, Irish Rover? John Denicola, good to see you. Of course, we're beating the horse that's been dead for about, 4 hours now? But we're going to keep beating it for the next, hour and a half. But listen.
I know it's difficult to believe this still only took place less than 24 hours ago. 23 and a half.
You reckon he tried to pull a Bob Marley?
He didn't take enough bullets to pull a Bob Marley.
Well, I'm just saying Bob Marley got shot and tried to finish the show. It was the fans made him go to the hospital because.
Oh, are you kidding me? If they would have, he absolutely would have finished the rally. He would have finished the rally with blood streaming down his face. He would have thought that was great.
Yes, yes. So I'm wondering, was that conversation had? Did he have that argument while they were doing this group hug shit? I need to finish the rally. These people all came.
I mean, he certainly they wanted to remove him from that stage much more quickly than he was willing to be removed, and that's like I was talking about in the monologue. I think he was thinking somebody may have just taken a shot at me, but I'm not. I don't want to look like a pussy. I'm going to leave this stage and on my own terms in my own time. God damn it!
You know what's messed up, Samuel? We were live when that happened, and you got the freshest, most pure reaction you could imagine from a handful of panelists while some live bit of nefarious content was taking place. And yet that wasn't the best stream I was in yesterday. I did one last night with Pigpen Network, which is a part of BlackTube Network after a fashion. And that thing got 1,400 views last night for some weird reason, because they're saying that the whole thing was staged by some deep state plants, right? They've got a tinfoil hat theory, and I can't quite figure out what the theory is, because they just seem to believe that it's all BS. They just don't believe none of it, right?
That's such a fascinating cultural phenomenon that we've developed in the last 30 years or so, where we're a significant subgroup of the population, anytime any event happens, they want to go straight to the most complicated, most convoluted conspiracy theory they can possibly think of and declare it the actual truth.
Well, I will be honest. These three guys each had a different theory that they couldn't quite put their finger on in English, right? Like, it was clear they knew what they were trying to say, but they couldn't say it.
But there's got to be some damn kind of conspiracy.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the thing. You're saying, okay, well, there's been incompetence in the Secret Service, but to me, it doesn't really look like incompetence. Here's the thing. There should have been a Secret Service sniper or a deputy, or there should have been a sniper in the location the shooter was in. Minimum. 160 yards, dude. I could throw
and moreover, the shooter should have been liquidated the moment they saw him. When the people on the ground were yelling up to him, he's got a gun, he's got a gun, he's got a gun, he's on the roof with a gun. They waited for him to fire before liquidating him. And how in the living fuck does that happen? I want to know.
A gun doesn't exactly show you where a shooter is, and it can be difficult to find a target when you don't know at all where the target is. When you got people down here pointing up there, okay, it's on the roof over there. We find the roof, we scan the roof, we find the target, we eliminate the target.
Yes, and it's exceedingly difficult to sync up events when you're only watching one half of the event from one perspective.
Right.
However, I think in a couple of the videos that are circulating, it seems clear that the counter sniper team had already acquired him, and he was in their sights before he had squeezed off around. And obviously we shouldn't speculate on that at this stage, but it's going to be pretty illustrative to see what the fact pattern winds up being there, I think.
Well, I mean, obviously there's been some terrible failings. Previously, yesterday morning, I would have told you that the Secret Service is the greatest security detail on earth today, unless Israel or somebody else has some super secret service that I'm unaware of, at which point in time they might take the cake. But as far as this level of protection, the Secret Service are it. They are the
Scotty Waddles in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Scotty Waddles, hey now. Hey, wow. Anyway.
Welcome, Scotty. Good to see you, my friend.
However, your question about whether or not Trump would do better with a private security detail, other than the literal immunity to any type of anything, you cannot do an illegal act if you're doing it specifically to protect the president. As a Secret Service,
and I've got another question I don't know the answer to. Is there anything preventing Trump from combining his Secret Service detail with private security?
Yes. Part of that has to do with the Secret Service itself. the Secret Service would have to vet every single member of a private security detail, or they would become targets of the Secret Service just because they are not a non-vetted threat to the president, possible threat to the president. It's complicated, man. And when you're talking about the highest,
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking from Trump's perspective. If I had just taken a bullet in the ear due to the Secret Service's either shocking incompetence or inattention to detail, allowing rooftops to go unsecured like that, I might be wanting to ask that question. Like, if you guys are going to do such an impossibly shitty job, could I maybe make some of my own arrangements if you don't have enough guys to cover freaking 150-yard away rooftops? I mean, come on.
One thing he could do in this situation while maintaining the Secret Service detail intact, he could sacrifice his range security to a private detail and have the Secret Service vet that detail. You'd end up probably a whole bunch of freaking Army snipers and Marine snipers volunteering for the roles. But, you know, you'd get your coverage, baby. You'd get your coverage. You could cover every rooftop from here to Montana, bro. You know how many volunteer today? Today.
To what John just said, the reports have been ever since the start of this year that Trump's people have made repeated requests to the Biden administration that their Secret Service detail be bolstered in size because the threat environment is so multifaceted and high temperature, if you want to call it that. And those requests have been steadfastly refused, as we understand it, by Homeland Security and the White House for reasons that have never been elucidated in any great detail. But I think we are entitled to a detailed answer to that question now, are we not?
Do you have a tinfoil hat handy?
When do I not?
Well, we desperately need to get us a couple of metal hats to have on this show for moments just like this, because I just had a thought. What if that wasn't a bullet that hit him in the ear, but his earpiece exploding?
They were saying for a while that it was actually a glass shard from the prompter screen, which wound up not being the case. But I wonder why that story was so prevalent at first for a couple hours.
If you, I mean, do you say yes, he hit me, or do you say, well, I got cut by surrounding shrapnel?
And it's also fun how the last time I checked last night, the headlines for CNN and the Washington Post both said that Trump claims he was shot at rally.
Claims like
we just have to take his word for it. We haven't had a chance to vet this yet, but Trump claims he was shot.
Wow.
Very classy, guys. Just covering yourself in glory as always.
That's not right. What happened? Something went horrendously wrong, and I don't like it.
Proud as a peacock.
Like it. There you go. Let me fix it. You know how it goes, man. Okay, let's do some alternate history of the day, right? We do this occasionally with historical events. Is this not a historical event?
This is very much a historical event.
What happens if that bullet lands?
There is open warfare in America right now. And I don't know exactly what form it would take or how widespread it would be, but I think it would precipitate some sort of societal collapse. And I think it's the only event that could do that. I think it would get really goddamn ugly, really goddamn fast.
It reminds me of that old Chinese curse that sounds like a blessing. May you live in interesting times. But I ask you, which was more interesting, the fall of Rome or the Pax Romana?
Would we be doing this show right now? Would any of us be going to work tomorrow? Who knows? I say those questions are toss-ups. If Trump was successfully assassinated, that would open up a Pandora's box that nobody wants to see the contents of. I can tell you that for damn sure.
I want no part of it. All right, so Body Language Ghost did a take on this. almost immediately after it happened, like within a few minutes of it having happened, this was up. And we're going to take a look at her 7-minute look at it. And then we're going to take a look at some from SC Reviews, some woke tards having their freaking breakfast fed to them in pure copium.
On their 2024 bingo card. Everybody, we all knew that eventually this was what was going to happen.
Right.
Nobody predicted anything.
Yep.
It's saying it's going to rain. One day it's going to rain. One day they were going to shoot him. So a few things, just report wise. Some photos coming out of the zoom ins on him. Looks like he's got some bullet holes in his jacket. Obviously, we've all assumed that he's been wearing a bulletproof vest. But at
He's
this point,
not.
all of that is speculation. No
I
one
suspect that
quite
suit
knows
might
for
have a
sure.
little
There
bulletproof
is
effect
just
to it
watching
too.
video and things exploding.
Wow, so he was hit twice? That's the first I'm hearing of that.
Who do we get to play the shooter in the movie?
This is a big crowd.
I'll need to see a mugshot first,
So in the initial of this, he's drunk.
or a
He's
driver's
sitting
license photo at any rate.
now for the past, it's like 9 or 10 years of watching this man do rallies. Holy cow. Anyways, this is normal. He's relaxed. We're not seeing any real stress coming through other than the norm. There's nothing.
Yeah,
that
he
says,
seems pretty
"Ooh,
relaxed to
today's
me."
gonna be the day.
I wish the fake news back there would show it. I wish they'd spin their cameras and show it because nobody would believe it. You know, the other day, Biden was saying, I got big crowds, meeting him. He gets big crowds. He doesn't know what a big... And there were like 93 people there. 93. You know what that is? That's where the front row Joes sit, right here.
The front row Joes.
We got more than 93 front row Joes. Hello, Butler, and hello to Pennsylvania. I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth
What's
with
up, Bill? Welcome
thousands
in.
of proud,
John Denver Cole,
hardworking
good to see
American
you.
patriots,
Iris
and that's
over
what
in
you
Florida.
are. And we got to bring our country back to health because our country is going to hell if you haven't noticed. Millions and millions of people are poor.
He's not doing too well on his words.
As an observation, how much balls do you have to think you're going to roll into a Trump rally and walk away alive?
Yeah, that's a question to be pondered, isn't it? Like how did he think that? What was his best case scenario for how that thing was going to wind up? I wonder.
That's twice now that he's messed up. I think he was trying to avoid saying hell. Didn't want that mishap. It could be the heat because I tell
We
you,
finally
we're
made
feeling
it,
that
bro.
much heat. It ain't
We
fun.
made it with
But
YouTube
it
famous
also could
beaks here.
be that's where the mind's at. All right, so now the bullets start flying.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months
Second.
old. And
Hold on. That's a pretty good point there, Beak. Probably most of the 93 was press. Was he just making a poke at the press by calling them front row Joes?
Yeah,
Was there
I believe
they're
so.
all scientific sycophants? Was there another layer there that we missed? Oh,
Yeah, and
Lord.
it got past us. I'm so embarrassed it got past us.
I thought it was a strange reference, and I'm like, okay. They say homie had a bomb in his car too, or at least bomb making stuff in the.
Is
in
that
the
right?
shoot.
Where
Yeah.
are you seeing that?
I read it earlier on the AP. I've got that brought up. I'm gonna, at least I think it's still up there. I'm gonna check that out in a minute after we get through this.
Okay.
if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
All right. So obviously you see him grab his ear base area. You see the arm come in actually quite tight to protect himself.
Yeah, when,
Oh,
he
that's a
brings-
little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old.
when you see his arm go up, he gets hit in the stomach and the vest catches it. And he realizes, oh shit, that's a bullet. Somebody just shot me.
Yep, and then he drops.
Yep.
And so the body is reacting appropriately.
Because he probably sees blood on his hand immediately and realizes exactly what's up, and then it's time to get on the deck.
Also, I heard somebody saying something about how many shots were fired, and they were saying that there were too many or not enough or in the wrong order or something. I'm like, no. Every single person involved in this would have a silencer. All of the Secret Service people, the snipers, all use silenced weapons. It's a public. They don't want to expose their location in public if they end up having to.
Well, and within 10 seconds of the agents rushing on stage, you can hear them saying to each other that the shooter is down. See?
Yeah. And now you move the former president to a safe location. No ifs, ands, or buts. And he's, I want my shoe. Give me my shoe.
And you have a 5'2", 207-pound female agent protecting his front side.
Let me get my shoes on. That's a man that's not afraid. He's like, okay, yeah, I've just been shot at. He's obviously not an idiot. He can hear them saying that they.
Hold up. I
just shot.
Yeah, shot. Check this out.
Shot.
Let me get my shoes on. That's a.
Damn it. Right here, when he turns, they've taken his tie off and they have opened the front of his shirt and checked for penetration. They've already his vest has been opened. They put hands.
I don't think he had a tie on ever.
Yeah, you're right.
He went tieless.
Look how wide open his shirt is there, though.
Oh yeah, they definitely checked him.
He's been molested like an altar boy.
Yeah.
He feels kind of touched right now. What's up, ATL baby? Welcome in.
Well, and I'm reminded of do you remember the Hinckley Reagan shooting in 81?
Yep.
The thing I always remember when I think about that one is that Tim McCarthy, who was they call him the body man, the guy who's the closest personal protector of the president's person, and he's facing away from the shooter, helping to put Reagan inside the car, and as soon as that guy hears the sound of a gunshot, his training kicks in. He leaves his feet, spins in the air around, faces the gunfire, and makes himself as big as possible, and takes one directly in the gut.
Yep.
How much personal bravery and good training do you need to have to react to a situation that counterintuitively against all of your human instincts? I hear the sound of a gunshot. I need to spin around and take the bullet for the president.
Right. But it goes a step further. A lot of people would have tried to draw. A lot of people would have tried to, shove him in faster or something, ignore it. There's a lot of ways that could have gone, but to swell up like a bullfrog and take the bullet, balls, man.
Yep.
That's just balls.
And that was his only job in that scenario, and he knew it was his job, and he damn well did it.
I'm not a big fan of calling them the SS. They're salty. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a difficult conundrum, to be sure.
Right.
Not an idiot. He can hear them saying that they've shot the shooter. Although mentally in my mind, I'm sitting there thinking, is there only one? Because JFK, I don't think it was just one.
Oh, stop it. Stop it, body language Ghost. God damn it.
What are we talking about? The dispelled bullet theory now?
She just stop body language Ghost. Move on. Don't inflame the crazies.
You hear him, wait. And he's not really ducking his head. You do not see someone scared, ducking down, hunching their shoulders, trying to protect themselves with their own body mass, or hiding behind these guys that are obviously trying to hide him for himself. There's no fear mentality.
If that would have been me, and my love for one-liners, I would have leaned up to that mic and screamed into it, "Friends, Americans, countrymen, lend me your..."
Missed me, bitch!
Missed me, bitch!
He's just like, hey, wait. I'm going to get my shoes on. I'm going to give a fist pump. And then I'm going to sit
Where'd you
there.
learn to shoot, you dumbass?
I'm going to stick my arm out because, there's not enough of me
167 yards
sticking out
ain't
where
far, man.
I can be shot. I'm not going to hide my head.
No,
That's just
that is
valid.
basic level marksmanship competency.
Well, I mean, admittedly, he did at least get it in range of his head to cause blood. And if
Oh
he
yeah,
got,
yep,
if he got shot in the vest, he took at least one round himself. So
yep.
it wasn't a failed assassination.
Yeah,
attempt
that was.
for the protection the president's under.
We would prefer to say it was thwarted, but we cannot say that, unfortunately.
Not really. It could have been such a much easier thing to cover
You
if
know,
you just had
since
one man.
since their man did get hit in the head with an assassin's bullet.
That is true. It's a bit much, yeah. But he's like, I'm not going out like a bitch. You might carry
Nope.
me out,
No,
motherfucker,
yep.
stretcher, but I'm not going out like a bitch.
Well, and
All right.
and there's it's and that's a fascinating thing because I don't think there is any president or even politician in our history who understands the power of the visual image as well as Donald Trump does. And that's what he realizes that early on in this situation, when he's still on the deck, that these images that happen after I get on my feet are going to live in the historical record. And so I want to make damn sure they look good.
Right. Well, not just look good, look strong specifically.
Yes. I'm not going to leave this stage looking like a pussy.
So what do you reckon the left said about all this?
I'm sure they were perfectly reasonable.
I'm absolutely reasonable and having an open and neutral conversation with no bias.
Yep.
If you're not familiar with SC Reviews, go check him out. He's awesome.
What's going on YouTube? I am back. So we're here to talk about the disgraceful attack on Donald Trump. We're going to be checking out the reaction to it, checking out some of these woke SJW, low life, low
I love
IQ
this dude's work.
pissants.
He's
And
part
see
of
what
what
they had to
got
say
me
about it.
into
It
YouTube
proves they
in the
have
first
no
place.
integrity, no character, no morals whatsoever. But as I always say, first up, you want to help me out, hit the like button and subscribe button as well. And
Yeah,
if
that
you
goes
do
for
hit
you
that
folks
subscribe
out there
button,
in
make sure you
YouTube
get all
land. Y'all
notifications.
could like
Indeed,
this.
it does.
Yep.
And as you can see from that image
There it is. That's the one I was trying to show you.
God, these low life cocksuckers tried to take him out.
Wow.
You could try 1 million times to get that photograph and never get it a second time. Talk
You
about snapping the shutter at the right moment. Are you freaking kidding me?
I'm pretty sure his ear's been clipped. That's the bullet after it went through his ear. It's behind him at this point.
No, it's on the way because the shooting was from our right in this picture.
Okay.
But as we all know, they failed, and the man is even more popular now, right? He's going to win in November. It's beyond doubt. That doesn't mean you take your foot off their neck, though. You keep squeezing that neck until he's actually in the White House, and these pissheads are crying in the streets, shitting their pants, pissing their dacks.
Sorry, dude. I thought
They need
Sorry,
to-
sorry, my bad.
Because they're so
Choose
backed
one.
up.
Just
Because
go
they're
with one,
they're
dude.
not antidepressant. But one question that did need to be asked is, what was the Secret Service doing? There was Trump down the bottom there, and that roof,
Ooh,
that roof
yes, no. See, here we are, right here. Bam. The sniper detail is set up over here on top of this roof. Hold on, we'll get that off the screen. It's set up over here on top of this roof when they should have been set up here on this roof. This is where the Secret Service should have been set up, is on the roof the sniper was on. Why?
And why on earth would you have sniper coverage of that roof, but not a guy on the roof?
I don't know if we're allowed to ask that question.
I mean, like I said, a local cop, a sheriff's deputy, a rent-a-cop, a freaking security guard. I don't
fucking
care.
Go take a canine cop over there, yo. He's
like
in this place
just-
anyway.
Any kind of a warm body who can report if somebody shows up with a freaking rifle.
Yeah, right? And military fatigue.
This is not rocket surgery.
So here's another detail. So people noticed the guy with the rifle, and later they noticed that he was wearing a type of camo, and they assumed military stuff. But here's the thing. You can buy any military gear you ever wanted to buy at a military surplus store if you got enough money. You walk in there,
Yep.
you tell the chick behind the counter what you're looking for, give specific details on it, and a week, maybe a month, she'll be along with it, whatever you want. This is repugnant.
That is an outstanding word for it.
120 meters. I know football players that can throw a football that far.
Yeah, you're dead. You could hit a guy with a baseball from that range.
Right. Oh my Lord. So why was not that roof covered? I personally, as part of that detail, would have put at least one person on that roof, but more likely I would have set up my sniper team on that roof and put a guy on this roof over here just in case. Right.
It seems
This
like
was-
that roof should have been the number one thing in your action plan.
Dude, yes, no, that's the largest, most open, and most difficult to secure scene within 1,000 yards of the president today, right? So we put a man on the roof. We put a man on the moon. We could put a man on the roof. Why is there no roof Koreans there?
It literally is the only place in the entire vicinity where you can be outside the security perimeter and get a shot on the podium. So, and it's just left there. Unoccupied.
This is the most damning image I've seen in the past 72 hours.
Yeah, that is one hell of an image. You are not wrong.
This needs explanation. I am some random, uneducated redneck country boy, and I would have covered that damn roof at a glance. Looking at this scene, 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Where's the president gonna be?
the asking of these questions should not fall to people like us.
Absolutely not. This should have been considered by a professional on the first pass.
Where the shooter was completely clear. Check this out.
Okay, I asked this before the show, but I want to ask you now. Do you think Trump just took the Black Power fist back? Did he just culturally, like in real time, culturally appropriate an icon?
Real time reverse cultural appropriation for the win.
Wow.
The Black Power fist is now the Trump fist.
It's now the Trump fist, which is probably, hey, we should make that dildo. We should market that dildo. I bet we could fucking make a goddamn killing on it.
Probably so.
Just make it a big red, white, and blue eagle-headed dildo. It'd be awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh, imagine how much that would. Oh, that would piss him off so bad.
Some of the Secret Service for Donald Trump contains women. And I didn't actually know that women were
There's this one dude.
Yeah,
over
and
here
watch all the trouble this female agent has trying to get her sidearm back in the holster.
part of the Secret Service. That is news to me because I've never seen that before. But I'm wondering if my American viewers had ever seen this before. I'm guessing you might not have. And I'm guessing the reason why you might be seeing them for the first time now is this.
To expand hiring, they're aiming to have 30% women recruits by 2030 and even allowed YouTube influencer Michelle Carre to train with agents.
But I'm very conscious
Oh, I have a problem with that.
as I sit in this chair now of making sure that we need
As long as it's not like a prank YouTuber, or in the event it is a prank YouTuber, that the YouTuber takes the training seriously, I don't have an issue with it. You can't be out clowning. on the
You
set.
resign yesterday. Resign. You are beclowning yourself, and you are shaming the name of 6 generations of your descendants by not fucking quitting. You lost your man. Your man took a bullet in the head. Resign immediately now.
John DeNicola, the dude that was flipping off the camera was flipping off the Secret Service sniper because they had been screaming about the guy on the roof for like 3 minutes before they pulled the trigger. Like 2.5 minutes before the shots were fired. these guys were going, there is a man on the roof with a gun over there, and the Secret Service seemed to believe it was one of their guys. That would be.
And there's a video where immediately before the shooting starts, people are screaming it just at the top of their lungs. He's got a gun. He's on the roof, and then the shooting starts. Pop, pop, pop.
Yeah, it's all over but the crying. And
Need
this bitch's
to
job.
attract diverse candidates and ensure that we are developing and giving opportunities to everybody in our workforce, and particularly women.
That workforce will be pivotal for the
Giving opportunities to everybody.
In my personal opinion, I think.
How about keep your protectees alive and make sure they don't take bullets in the goddamn head?
Right? Do that thing.
And
Do
by the
that
way,
thing.
the Democrats were also looking to strip the Secret Service protection from Trump if he was convicted.
Right?
They were trying to make him more.
Well, no, there was an attempt to strip him of Secret Service protection back when he was found with documents. And that whole fiasco went down. They were trying to figure out.
Oh yeah, and Benny Thompson just came out with a bill not a few months ago that would have stripped him from all of his all ex-presidents from Secret Service protection entirely.
Then that's not a thing.
Like, that is how badly they want this man to be harmed.
Yep.
more vulnerable even back then. But what could have enraged someone from the population to carry out an attack like this? I mean, could it be words from Biden himself? Here he said a few days ago, he said, quote, "So we're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye," end quote. A while ago, we had Maxine Waters saying this.
"I will go and take Trump out tonight. I will go and take Trump out tonight."
And for quite a while now, there's been people comparing Trump to Hitler, which is completely ridiculous. But here's an example of that. This is former Senator Claire McCaskill.
I explained why they do that.
A lot of people have tried to draw similarities between Mussolini and Hitler and the use of the terminology like vermin and the drive that those men had towards autocracy and dictatorship. The difference, though, I think makes Donald Trump
I'm not going to explain this comment, but we got a participation trophy winner.
even more dangerous. That is, he has no philosophy he believes in. He is not trying to expand the boundaries of the United States of America. He's not trying to overcome a neighbor.
You be real careful with that type of philosophizing there, cutie, because listen.
You know, every time I turn around, there's some Democrat telling me the exact contents of Donald Trump's private thoughts.
It's amazing how they know what he's thinking. But,
that they all possess this amazing clairvoyance. It really is astounding.
Manifest Destiny may not have run its course yet. Just don't rattle the box too hard. South America might still be America. Be real careful. I'm just saying, man. We might like to spread our legs a little bit occasionally. We've already got military bases in all of them. So, yeah.
Neighboring country like Putin is in Ukraine. He is not going for some grandiose scheme of international dominance. All he wants is to look in the mirror and see a guy who's president.
More dangerous than
Wait a
Hitler.
second. Hold on. He can do that for the rest of his life. He will forever be a guy that was president. I don't get it.
Like these people sit around fantasizing about Donald Trump's private thoughts, and then they go on television and announce them.
Yeah, they sit around and think the most vile, vitriolic, nasty thing you could possibly think, and then attribute it to Donald Trump because they have no interior monologue.
Wait till you hear about what he thought when he was on the toilet this morning. I'm going to tell you all about it on the Rachel Maddow show.
Well, if you didn't kick him off Twitter, you'd know exactly what he was thinking on the toilet this morning. You wouldn't have
It's a fair point.
Hateful rhetoric. Really? And you'd think after Trump was attacked, the media would actually have some fair and balanced reporting. Not even once. This out from CNN.
Not even once.
I do want to say there was one thing that when I watched the tape, I found odd because of all of the heated rhetoric. And that is that after he was hit, former President Trump got up and said, "Fight, fight, fight." I think what we're hearing from people is that's not
What's up,
the
Lion
message
One? Welcome in, man.
that we want to be sending right now. We
CNN
wanna-
at one point actually had a headline that said,
So
Trump
after
rushed off stage by Secret Service after he falls down.
Rushed. Yeah. See, this is the thing. One of the issues I had with that detail, that specific detail that wrapped him up with the dog pile, is I don't think but about 2 of them actually was taller than Trump. And
I
don't
know.
think it-
And what the actual hell? It doesn't do a whole lot of good to form a protective cocoon around a man when he's taller than you all are. What the hell?
I just didn't like the detail. And I'm not talking about men or women. I'm talking about the fact that he's a big boy. You need enough people to pick him up and leave in a rapid fashion. And I don't think they had that there.
Yeah, he's taller than I am, and I'm taller than most people.
Right?
one, oh no, he's the one that needs to temper his language. What about Jeff Bezos? You know, very wealthy man, public figure. What did he have to say? Our former president showed tremendous grace and courage under literal fire tonight. So thankful for his safety and so sad for the victims and their families.
It was wild.
Such a heartfelt response.
That was surprisingly classy by Jeff Bezos.
Hey, I got no hate for the man on that one. But yeah, no. Hey, what's up, Missing Link Live? Good to see you again, bud. It was wild to go live right when that happened because we came out of an intro directly into a reaction on the fact that the Trump had just been shot.
Yeah, had to abandon your plan pretty quick, I expect.
I see Sam doesn't tell us the plan, but I assume there might be one somewhere. And if one happens to show up, we'll do that. And that's kind of how it happened. The plan showed up while we were on the fly.
What about this? From mostly peaceful memes, he says, well, they say, this is your newspaper, Jeff Bezos, from the Washington Post. Opinion. Yes, it's okay to compare Trump to Hitler. Don't let me stop you. That paper is owned by Jeff Bezos. Really interesting. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage.
There it is. That's the one I was telling you about just now.
Yep, just fell over. That's all he did.
After
Just
he
fell
falls
over, just
at
tripped.
rally.
Might have stepped on a banana.
All
or
right,
a
ladies and gentlemen,
He just randomly fell down because he's such a buffoon. It's not because he was shot in the head.
do you remember the Yuri Bezmenov interview?
Yeah.
Where he breaks down the whole policy, practice by which the KGB is going to break down America.
Mhm.
Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. Is spin. That is subversion at its very finest. Technically, the statement is not incorrect, but it is not correct either. This is
It is as extreme as disingenuous, misleading spin can possibly get from any organization that claims to be engaged in news.
the implication here is that Trump is being protected from himself by the Secret Service. That he is so in walking that the Secret Service had to step in and protect himself because somehow he shot himself in the ear from 167 yards away. Poetic license. I love it.
CNN is so committed to the anti-Trump project that they can't even bring themselves to write in a headline that he got shot when everybody knows he got shot. They have to be misleading and disingenuous right to the end, which I guess we have to credit them for their consistency, I suppose.
I mean, sure.
Shoelace well, that's all he did. It's all Trump's fault. This one from MSNBC. Trump rushed off stage at Pennsylvania rally by Secret Service after loud
popping noises. That's a good one too.
That's a really good one. That is because
it's all your usual suspects. It's MSNBC and CNN just steadfastly refusing to write that the man was shot, which is just pathological. It's freaking freaky
What's
as
the
hell, I think.
chances- No. Hold on. What's the chances this is all being done by AI and just claimed by different names?
Third. Loud.
Speaking of AI, we still got to do Harmony Unleashed season 3. I'm just putting it out there.
Embarrassed.
I knew I fucked up when I
They should
said
be
it.
embarrassed by putting this stuff out there. This isn't fair and balanced. This is completely partisan. They're trying their best to try and sugarcoat this thing. What about this one from Sky News? Nothing justifies an assassination bid. That's a great headline. Oh, wait up. There's more. But did Trump play a part in changing the rules of engagement?
Assassinating people is bad, but
when we do
but
when we're fortifying an election.
Great job, news media. Just like I said, covering yourselves with glory. Hot, sticky glory shooting everywhere.
Sounds like Congress.
So now they're blaming Trump for being attacked.
Donald Trump and the people around him perceive themselves to be under threat, and that's all that matters. That is not legitimate. That is wrong. You hear the screams from the audience. People are terrified.
He's literally
the man was just shot in the head, but it's irrational for him to be afraid of being attacked. That person just said that actual thing on television.
Fair to say they are under threat.
I just got a text from somebody who's apparently got the wrong number asking me if I want to DJ for a Democratic thing over here at a polling location.
Say yes. We'll tag team that shit, dude. I will fly out there and tag team that shit with you.
I'm gonna play Bon Jovi all night.
And it's justified them feeling under threat. Where would you get the idea that you're not under threat when something like that has happened? Like, what is going on at CNN? They must have the most low IQ people imaginable, or they just completely sold their souls to the Democratic Party.
That's a little of both, really.
There's no balance here at all. There's no journalistic integrity. Nothing.
Nope.
Let's get some more reactions here from
This is
TikTok.
the part I wanted to see.
Just found out about this shit. It just happened. I haven't even had a second to process. You're telling me somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew. And we were a second away. We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed. It was a right man.
What's honey, sweetest? Listen. I know you're all hopped up on pumpkin spice latte, and I don't want to.
This is going on her. This is going on her permanent record.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the internet is forever.
It's true.
That trigger. I know. We were a centimeter away.
And here's a reaction
My
from someone
question,
else.
though.
And this was so important that she had to make this video while traveling in her car. She couldn't wait to get home to tell the internet how happy she was that Trump almost got assassinated.
You see, Queen Bird, you make a very valid point here. This is the part of the reason for this show. Me and Captain Curmudgeon had a conversation backstage one day, and we were talking about how the entire concept of Western civilization is under attack from every single quarter, from both without and within. And while we don't believe we can actually do anything to change that, alter it in any way, because we are utterly powerless in this fight, as far as we can tell, we figured we could at least document the fall of the American empire. And so
I am firmly on the record as saying universal suffrage was a bad idea.
The blast radius, the whole concept is, it's not a nuke that's going to take us out. It's fucking fourth, fifth wave feminism. Like, it's intersectional feminism is what's going to take us down. And that is
He ain't wrong.
But it's these type of people that make that what's going to happen. Idiocracy.
Feminism has done such a splendid job of eating its own tail that men are actually taking over women's sports now.
Hawk Tua for VP.
The world, if they didn't miss, they really think, oh my God, it's so bad, isn't it? Had they seen what's going on with a leftist government at the moment? And I think that's the future under that style of government. I think a more accurate representation of what 4 more years of leftist government would be like is something like Chicago. That's what you're looking forward to, Chicago.
Yes. No, see, that's the thing.
Not this.
That's the part a lot of people don't realize. We don't have to look at some dystopian future novel to find out what 30 years of Democrat policies will do. We can look at LA. We can look at California. We can look at Detroit. We can look at any major city in America and see all of the holes in the plan because they are glaring to anyone who doesn't live in that plan.
Well, I can go and ask any Californian of a certain age, are things better for the average Californian today than they were 30 years ago when we became a one-party Democrat state? And I will not get one single person who answers that question in the affirmative.
Not this here.
Wild.
How do you miss that? We don't miss those. Come on, man.
I kind of get where this guy's coming from. Not about shooting Trump, right? But the shot itself. The shot, dude, like you said, you could hit someone with a baseball from that far.
Yep.
So how do you miss that?
We don't miss those! One shot at greatness to be mentioned in the history books, and you missed the shot!
Again, same thing. Low IQ, no morals, no decency, nothing.
And this is what passes for virtue signaling.
Brandon Lee
This is people expressing what they think is a morally praiseworthy view.
This is not a virtue being used for virtue signaling. The desire for a man to be harmed is, by definition, disgusting.
It is straight up unequivocal evil.
Evil.
Masquerading as virtue.
Yeah. Oh God, may say you could throw a javelin that far.
Yeah, it's basically hitting the cutoff man from the center field fence. That's what we're talking about here.
Right. A talented man might be able to thump a bullet that far. It's ridiculous, dude. But still, at the same time, it just goes to show you that the left can't mean and they can't shoot. When it comes to the Second Amendment debate, their only hope is to disarm us. That's it.
Yeah, they pretty much suck at everything that requires precision.
Except organization. That's one thing they're very good at. AstroTurfing, they're very good at that shit.
Stuffing ballot boxes.
I thought Donald Trump had been assassinated, and I thought to myself, this is the best fucking day of my life. And then he wasn't. So it's the worst day of my life.
I want you guys to be prepared for the amount of insufferable victimization you're about to see from Donald Trump and even the Republican and Conservative Party in general. I want you guys to note every single thing that they say and step they take now, because
we will be noting every single step you take, and it will go down into the Wayback Machine where we will laugh uproariously at you for the rest.
Of all the nerve, a guy complaining about getting shot in the head. I mean,
right? How dare they?
Get out of here with that noise, you pussy.
They're going to use this to their advantage with their entire being. They will go further than we will because they have more hate in their heart and less morals.
Where?
These youngsters have got the world all figured out, don't they?
They're pretty much just repeating what they're told at college.
Yeah, they are mirroring the views that they think their authority figures want them to mirror.
They're being good little leftists in their good little leftist organization. And that's the way leftists work. For the most part, conservatives and Republicans, they don't get together and talk politics. They talk grain harvest and pig prices.
Yeah, because generally speaking, they've got real things to worry about. They don't get to sit around blubbering about bullshit politics stuff all day.
And I don't know. It's an endless cycle. It just keeps going.
I mean, does that ring true based on what I've shown you just in this video so far? I don't think so. I think it's very clear which side has the morals and which side has none.
She lives
we
in
even
college.
have doctors. That's right,
what that
Dr.
is.
Karen Pinder. Dr.
Which is
Karen
not anything resembling a real world.
Close. Too bad. Because someone said basically they wish they got him. She said, what a glorious day this could have been. And who is Dr. Karen Pinder? Well, she works at the University of British Columbia
Oh, go
in the
figure.
Department of Cellular and Physiological Sciences. And she's a professor of teaching at that university. She removed
Hi,
herself
Karen.
from Twitter, but it's too late because we got the tweet.
We got
But the good news is that Trump was not
Profile on private. Must have been a rough day.
Right.
And there he is, just getting off the
Hard day
plane.
at the salt mine. huh?
Question.
Trump's a racist scumbag.
If you were dating,
Trump's a racist scumbag.
do you give rim jobs?
Trump's a racist scumbag.
Do you give rim jobs? Have you ever? Okay. I just asked you.
That's what's going on. Hope you're having a good day as always. And as I always say,
Homie trying to have him an anti-excommunication on Homie. That was weird. I don't want to watch that no more. That made me feel funny. But we got 5 minutes, and let's see what's that last bit I popped up over here.
I don't know, but let's just not talk about rim jobs.
Oh man, you're making that difficult though. Now I can't think. All right, so in other news, right? In other news, I'm gonna go to Salty Cracker on this because he had an excellent take. Last week, before Trump was shot, right? Patriot Prayer got picked up on another one of their little excursions. Wait, Patriot Front, my bad.
No, it's a fucking protest. What is this?
You know, because
Bro,
right wing always
How
wear
many
masks.
people are in that?
Yes.
I don't fucking move. I want this
Obviously.
horror.
Boom! Holy LARP, Batman. The Fed boys are back. Here you go. Like rats popping out.
They glowing in the dark, man. You see that? Hold up. Hold up. Let's back it up just a little bit. So I can actually, dude, there is no diversity in this right here whatsoever. This is so anti-DEI that it makes me question whether or not they are in the government.
I know. It makes me. It gives me bad racist feelings.
I don't like the way this looks just in general. This gives me the heebie-jeebies in the word.
It's just not enough diversity and inclusion. It makes me so uncomfortable.
There's no way. This has to be somebody like a group of Antifa. There's not enough black people for it to be any other cross-section of society.
Because if there's anything we know about the world, if there's a group of people gathered in a place doing a thing and they're all white, something racist is going on.
Batman, the Fed boys are back. Here you go. Like rats popping out of the back of a U-Haul over here. You have a bunch of Patriot Front on the march over here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I am still blown away that there are people out there who are seemingly intelligent. And they're like, whoa, you think everybody's a Fed?
All right. You notice they show up in rented freaking U-Hauls and load up people like sardines in them.
I have noticed that now that you mention it.
Quite often you find that there are cops in the very close about locations that lead those U-Hauls in and out of those locations. Allegedly, according to my sources on the ground who was at one of these, he said the cops were just driving around with the U-Hauls behind them, went and parked them in a
It's
place.
almost like it's not actually an organic grassroots movement, and it's actually something that is centrally organized and planned.
Huh? What makes you think they're Feds, huh? Huh? You don't think people get upset and people go to march? You don't think conservatives are done with this? Those are Feds, you fucking morons. Those are fucking Feds. Whoa, you think everybody's a Fed? I don't think everybody's a Fed. And they get real pedantic about it. You think those are all FBI agents? You think they're Feds? I think this is a bunch of fucking idiots over here. And a number of them are going to be actual Feds. Yeah. They're going to be actual FBI agents.
Yeah, I'll sign that memo.
Fucking paycheck from the FBI. Yeah. But I think
I agree.
Maybe the
I agree 100%. Absolutely, feds. So, hell of a week, folks. Wasn't that freaking amazing? It's like
Yeah, it was pretty exciting, wasn't it?
It was like an episode of Quantum Leap. Except
Yeah.
for, we don't get to change.
Can't wait
things.
to see what happens on the season finale.
Oh shit. There's one thing about this game that I absolutely hate. The user interface sucks. The graphics are amazing. The sound quality is beyond divine. And the user interface is terrible. I need
It's
to talk to
true.
the developers. You know what you need to do, right?
Get those developers on the phone for me right now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you ever so much for joining us here on the Blast Radius on this most eventful of all weeks. Hopefully next week is a little bit less eventful, and I have a chance to return to doing a fun, pithy comedy news roundup at the top of the program, which would always be my preference, frankly. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow and a generally agreeable week. Stay safe. Do not comply. Get off my lawn.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?